The movie opens with a young boy tied up inside a cage in a large cave, with priests and goons surrounding him. He pleads with them to leave him and asks what they want from him. The priest says that his blood and flesh will give life to Nikita. Just then a witch comes as a lovely young woman and enters the cage. She removes the bat locket from her neck, transforms into a ferocious form and kills the guy. Thakur Mahendra Pratap Singh, Kulbhushan Kharbanda, finds out that a witch Nikita, Kamal Roy, is creating havoc in an adjoining forest. One night, his little daughter comes to him and says that villagers have got a dead body outside. He goes and sees the body of an unknown guy. The villagers are surrounding him. When asked, they say that a woman roaming in the lonely lanes of the forest has done this. They call her a witch. Samir Thakur says witches and devils are just superstitions. But the man said that when he came to the village from a nearby town a few years ago, he lost his way and wandered into the forest, where he saw a young woman. She later transforms into a bat and attacks him in the face. Mahendra Pratap decided to explore on his own. His younger brother Samir Pratap, Vijayendra Ghatge, decides to go hunting. His wife Preeti refused, saying that she had to think of her daughter and niece. They immediately came down and Mahendra Pratap said that he trusted his brother and their ancestors always helped the needy people to get justice. He gave Om to his brother and wished him luck in bestowing his blessings. Walking through the forest, Samir meets a beautiful young woman while driving a car, as described by a villager. The girl got into Samir's car. When they arrived at the old mansion beyond the lake in the forest, Samir uses his clever magic tactics and gets the girl to take a bath with him. As he diverted his attention by feigning physical proximity to her, he removed the bat lock from her neck. The lady transforms into the hideous witch Nikita that she really is. Samir renders her weak and helpless by holding a holy Om in front of her. The witch is taken to the outskirts of the village and the locals along with orders of the Thakur hang her to death. A tantric, Baba, manages to steal back her body along with all his followers in the dead of the night, and takes it to the shrine, where he keeps it in a sarcophagus and promises to provide her a new body. The body would be of Thakur Mahendra Pratap's daughter. A few days passed happily and peacefully. The siblings shared happy moments together and the children Jasmine and Sahila were lovingly cared for by Preeti, who is Sahila's mother and Samir's wife. One fine morning Thakur Sahab is shown going to Mussoorie to drop his niece Jasmine at her boarding school. When they cross a lonely part of the forest, Virana, the car overheats and stops. The uncle asks his little girl to wait for him in the car and leaves to collect water in the radiator. However, the grandmother suddenly crawled out from behind the bush, hypnotized the girl and turned her into a doll by cutting off a piece of her dress and a few strands of her hair. He then placed the glass vial containing this doll in the witch's sarcophagus. Jasmine got out of the car in a hypnotized state of mind and headed towards the shrine. On the other side, the uncle returned with a jug of water and was shocked to find the child in the car. He followed his trail and was surprised to find himself entering a forbidden bush. On the other side, the woman walks into the devil's hole and stops in front of the witch's grave. In a terrifying moment, the witch reached out and pulled the boy inside with her. The uncle tried to save his son, but it was too late to open the sarcophagus. At that moment, the evil spirit of the witch entered the woman's body. The uncle was thus rendered helpless when Baba's men outnumbered him and could not save his little nephew. He is shown captured and executed. Baba then took Jasmine to his father Thakur's residence. Tantrik informs Mahendra's family about his brother's death due to a violent storm in the forest and informs that Samir's dead body has been washed up in the river and has not been found. After taking the child back to his room and putting him to sleep, Bade Thakur Sahib left the 2 to 3 servants who were looking for the child and went downstairs to meet Baba. Baba asked Thakur's permission to leave, but Thakur asked him to stay as his daughter's guardian as he had saved his daughter's life. However, Shat Thakur's, Rama Vij, wife gradually notices something different in Jasmine's behavior. The child's changed behavior prompts the aunt to talk to her brother-in-law about her little girl's strange changes, trying to convince him to get a doctor to treat Jasmine. However, a witch who has a child overhears this and kills her Aunt Preeti by hanging her through the ceiling fan in Jasmine's room that night. Terrified by this incident, Thakur decides to send his little niece Sahila, a newly orphaned child, to Mumbai to stay with her grandmother to keep her safe and protected from dire situations. After 12 years, Thakur received a letter from his niece Sahila. He was very happy to be ranked first in the intermediate exam. Meanwhile, Jasmine has grown into an incredibly beautiful young woman who spends most of her time locked in her room alone or occasionally wandering the wilds. He tends to be depressed and lost in his own world, which constantly annoys his father. Thakur Saab informs Babu that his nephew has exams coming up and plans to call him to Chandan Nagar to spend his summer vacation in the Haveli. Baba directs one of his faithful servants Zimbaru, who is as huge as a giant, to kidnap the niece, Sahila, so that she would not reach her ancestral home. On the other side, a man attacks Sahila's car and chases after her. Her second cousin Satish Shah, shouts for help. Hemant Birja, turns up to rescue the damsel in distress. He manages to send the monster packing and save Sahila. In the village, Jasmine meets a new young man, Vijay Arora, at the town's gas station, who is a professional mechanic and an expert in troubleshooting his car. He admires her and asks her to go to the old mansion that is beyond the lake shore for a picnic that night. When the man got there, the woman welcomed him and they both drank and ate. Due to being too drunk, the man forced himself on Jasmine and they soon had a one-night stand. A few hours later at midnight the man realized this and woke up. He was afraid to see that Jasmine's eyes were gray and the girl did not move her eyes at all. He tried to escape but fell back onto the bed. Then the woman woke up, the witch took charge of her, took a silver dagger and stabbed the man to death. Then Jasmine drove home in the dark. His body was found by the police the next morning, but since no one recognized him, the investigation stopped there. Hemant and Sahila become close during the journey and both reached the Haveli. Thakur Saab was very happy to see Sahila, and when he heard the story of how Hemant had helped him out of trouble, he was impressed by the handsome and strong boy and quickly gave him a big job in a wood factory. She also accepts Hemant as her son and family member. However, the killing continued. One night, Jasmine gets into a drunken man's car, and after going the distance, the witch's ghost kills the man by slitting his throat. One night, Sahila decides to sleep with Jasmine in her old room and suddenly notices something strange and scary about her elder sister and tells her uncle and Hemant. Thakur decides to send his daughter Jasmine for a psychiatric evaluation to his old friend who is a famous psychiatrist. In hypnosis, Jasmine recounts the events of her past and becomes a different person. Her voice changes and she threateningly vows to kill everybody from Thakur's family. Thakur firstly refuses to believe the doctor, but when he hears the recording recorded by the doctor, he believes him when he informs about his daughter being possessed. However, due to their old family relation and bosom friendship, the doctor promises to stay and treat the young girl. The doctor also asks Sahila's friend Hemant to pretend to be close to Jasmine so that the truth comes to light, but they both fail in their attempts. However, one night, on seeing weird shadows and smoke coming out of Jasmine's bedroom, the doctor walks inside and sees the witch's grossly frightening face. He tries to warn Thakur but he refuses to believe him. The doctor runs away from the house to save his life but is mocked at by the servant man, Raghu, while departing from the mansion. In a huff, the doctor shuns Raghu and leaves from the Haveli as Jasmine looks at him with a strange victorious smile on her face standing in the balcony. While the doctor was driving at high speed along the old village roads, in the confusion he took a wrong turn, hit a tree and stopped in the middle of a lonely forest. The witch who had been lying in wait for him suddenly emerged from the dark shadows, and while the doctor looked at him almost unconscious with many shocked eyes, she stabbed him in the body and killed him. Servant Raghu, Gulshan Grover, is the next to die. He was killed when he decided to sleep in the factory at night instead of going to the Haveli out of fear of a witch. Then Hemant and Sahila, while discussing the murders with Satish, brought up the subject of Baba. Hemant decides to follow the Baba along with Sahila on a hunch. They both chase him to the Virana. But they get captured and Sahila discovers that her father Samir Pratap is alive. Satish Shah, in a twist of events, reaches the Virana and rescues all of them. Now, Samir goes straight home to his brother with the children. Thakur Sahib is thrilled to see his dear brother hale and hearty. Then Sahila and Hemant relate the story of Baba's plots and Samir informs his brother of the plan that helped the Baba make the witch's evil spirit possess Jasmine and turn her into a living nightmare. In the meantime, Baba plans to kill Jasmine on Amavasya so that the witch can be reborn and attain immortality. He takes her from the Haveli to the devil's lair and prepares her for the sacrificial ritual. But the family manages to reach the scene. Jasmine is saved by making the witch leave her body by destroying the bottle containing her voodoo doll. But, by sheer ill luck, Bade Thakur Sahib loses his life to grant his daughter happiness and a long survival. The family briefly grieves and somehow, as now the witch has got her spirit back in her own foul body, they somehow succeed in locking the witch inside sarcophagus with the help of the holy Om and Baba is also killed. Then the Thakur family and all the villagers take the sarcophagus to the temple of Lord Shiva. The sarcophagus is carried inside the temple and Chot Thakur unlocks it with Hemant's help. Both daughters were sent from the temple. The witch came out of the sarcophagus and to her horror found herself in front of the Holy Lord. Trembling in pain, he tried to run but lost all strength and fell to the ground. In a matter of moments, he was incinerated and destroyed forever by the sheer passion of the Almighty. Then the rescued Thakurs and Hemant started their life again and lived happily ever after. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more.